Welcome to our book, Consecrating America at Solomon's Temple. This is about Polish Pope John Paul, who joined with President Reagan, ending the Cold War, freeing Eastern Europe, taking down the Berlin Wall, all by consecrating Russia back to Christianity from Marx and Lenin's Jewish and German errors of fascist socialism we now call communism. So, our question today is this: can Argentine Pope Francis and President Trump do the same and save the new world from future global eruptions coming from the old world? Pope John Paul II was special, exactly as America, all the Americas, are special. But very, very few popes become saints because most are politicians with a religious twist. But not John Paul, who fought for his country, Poland, under the Nazis and the communists with solidarity. And the church did not make him a saint, God did. So this means his life and works are an example as much now as before. This is why he left these messages to us before he died. One, that Medjugorje is a true and valid replacement for the Fatima event. Two, Medjugorje will become the heart of the world, and it will restore the right understanding of the supernatural. And lastly, it will save America. Imagine that. So how can Medjugorje save America? That's the question we will seek to satisfy here. To begin, we must imitate the Pope like the imitation of Christ. To do this, we must think in those terms. Here's an example. Medjugorje can become all those things the Pope says if it is not a pivot point, but rather a place on the fulcrum of balance, as you will see in this picture. The fulcrum of spiritual balance between East and West, not a pivot point. A fulcrum of salvation balanced on the spiritual message God sends through his saints and even through the affectations of his witnesses and believers. The best example is to understand this in terms of the image we see and the likeness. Image and likeness are profoundly important in the Orthodox and Catholic theologies, but also in the Protestant rooms of thought. Here is a metric from our Greek Orthodox philosopher Archimedes. Give me a fulcrum, and with a lever I will move the world. Okay, the true nature and understanding of the supernatural is found in the fulcrum of Jesus as Christ, as host, and as Ark of the Covenant between God and man, or in the picture as you see, self and God, in the Holy Spirit. But the structure is totally important to our correct understanding between the difference between fulcrum and pivot. Remember, President Reagan defined the lever over our fulcrum of Christ in his State of the Union address. He said there are four things in this hierarchy: God, country, family, and self. You could say with the seesaw, a slightly inclined upward towards God, with self kind of at the bottom, dealing with family and country and nation. So in this story, we find a salvation in two spheres: the personal and the national. And we summon the saints to be our guides, because personal requires faith, while national requires work, like what was once called nation building. These two spheres are also in balance, but not between preachers as Bible thumpers acting as politicians, because exterior works of nation building are exemplified by what Polish John Paul and Ronald Reagan did out of the religious and political sense. Theirs was an esoteric quest to guide the nation out of darkness of personalities into the light of right understanding with the same gifts of grace given to the disciples and the apostles. As we see a good example with Jim Caviezel, who played in the movie The Passion of Christ, and also as Luke in the movie Paul, where Jesus gives power to these over demons, but with the power of love. So remember, John Paul fought the Nazis and the communists to save his native Poland, and later joined President Reagan to give America a reprieve from the depreciating personality of all the fake politicians, starting with Jimmy Carter, in the politics of national identity found in smiles and grins. Moreover, our two saints, John Paul and Reagan, now today can guide us away from the greater predications of doomsday revelations and the gloom of worldwide economic conditions growing worse each day as Islam becomes the world religion in the old world, hoisting communism over Europe's post-Christianity. So our key to this fulcrum of balance actually was the goal and purpose of true Masonic stonemasons, founding fathers, and fellow Knights of Columbus in the vision they shared and brought to America. And today, like even the faith and works of Theodore Roosevelt, with a new vision of nations free from the karma of the old world, where Christ is the middleman in the balance of human affairs.